Hey, Steve Basic Architect. I got a treat for you in this video. Yes, I am headed to Detva, Slovakia. I am going to be visiting Macroin Windows and Doors. It's some of the finest windows and doors made in the world. And as you can see, it took a series of planes, trains, and automobiles to get out there. But this is a all-access tour, so nobody gets these kind of tours. So enjoy the video. Hey, Steve Basic Architect. I know, you're probably wondering, okay, where is Steve now? Yeah, well, I'm on the other side of the world. I'm actually in northern Slovakia. Behind me is the scene or the site of a former communist tank factory. Yeah, during the Cold War, they used to build tanks in these buildings. They don't do it here anymore, but I'm not here to visit the tank factory. I'm here to see some of the very best wooden windows made in the world. Yeah, I'm visiting a company called Makrowin. It's owned by a good friend, Dusham, who just builds absolutely amazing stuff. We have had the privilege to do a number of projects with his wood windows. They're aluminum clad, absolutely gorgeous, any kind of wood. We have a huge video prepared here, but it might actually end up being like 3 or 4 videos. I just walked through the whole factory, and the story to tell here is just absolutely incredible. So let's get started. All right, so we're over here, front door, Macroin Windows. This used to be the maintenance facility for the tank factory. Dusham bought it, started a company, Macroin Windows. So let's catch up with my good friend. There he is. What's up, buddy? So I didn't mic up Dusham because he's all Slovakian, English. We have a little language barrier there, but I can tell you his English is far better than my Slovakian. But he's been here 27 years making some of the world's best wooden windows. And we're about to give you a tour like you've never seen before. After you, good sir. All right. So we're upstairs. They have a small showroom here. We're going to walk through there, and we're going to walk and talk about some of the different aspects of their windows and doors and highlight some of the things that they can do. It's pretty interesting stuff. But before we do that, I want to take a moment and talk to you a little bit about what Macrowin's latest venture and challenge has become. And that's to lower their carbon footprint. So if you step out here, you can see we have a 40 kW PV system. Now that solar array will power the whole factory in the summertime. On a gloomy day like today, well, he has battery storage down there. So we'll charge those batteries as best we can, and then he'll use it. But what that really means in terms of carbon footprint, when you compare Macrowin to, say, the typical UPVC fabricator here in Europe, they're about half the carbon footprint. And in terms of aluminum window manufacturers, well, they're well below that. And the beauty of it is, yeah, we're up here in northern Slovakia, middle of nowhere, but all it is about building those windows, putting them in a container, putting that container on a ship, and guess what? That ship can go anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, Dusham's got some maps over here where you can see predominantly sells in Europe and on the US here, but I found a mistake. We have a project right in Iowa, and Dusham failed to put a pin. Now the map is right. So let's check out that showroom. All right, so I got Patrick. Patrick's the owner of European Architectural Supply, so he's basically my connection to Dusham, right? I placed the order with Patrick's company. Patrick's company hires Dusham to make the windows. They send them to European Architectural Supply. European Architectural Supply supplies the contractor with the windows and doors. So we're going to run through the showroom here before we head downstairs. So just to give you a quick background on what they can do here, and then we're going to talk about some of the prototypes that nobody's ever even seen before. We're going to check those out downstairs. But first one, Patrick, basic hinge patio door. Not a whole lot of magic to it. Aluminum clad, wood framed, fully insulated, multiple gasketed. It's just bulletproof. Bulletproof window. It comes with an insect screen here. Insect screen's color coded, so
that's right.
To match the door. Beautiful system. And if you don't want all glass and you want an entry door, guess what? You dream it, you draw it. Dushan and Company builds it.
Yeah, we can make like 1,000 different designs for this particular one. Let's say if you want mirror glass in there with black aluminum, you know, custom oak pull handle with an integrated fingerprint reader on it. Yeah. And of course, the most important part is, you know, the thickness of the slab. You can put enough insulation in there to make it a passive house grade door.
And I just realized this is aluminum clad. That's a mirror finish if we look at it there. But if we close it, I can see out through it.
Yeah, that's triple pane insulated glass.
It's triple pane glass here, but it's a mirrored glass on the outside. So I get that privacy effect from the outside, but I can see who's knocking at my front door.
It's a specialty coating that goes on the outside pane and gets you the mirror look.
Very, very cool.
The coolest thing about this sample, and we're getting really, you know, trying to launch this in North America more, these integrated Juliet balconies. We can put these on lift slide doors, we can put these in patio doors, and it's a real hassle-free way to solve a railing for you without having to mount it to the building. Essentially, buy a patio door or a lift slide door from us with an integrated railing, you install it into the rough opening, and you're done. You don't have to be figuring out a way to mount things, you know, into your building, you know, penetrating a weather-resistant barrier, you know, doing brick around it or whatnot. It is actually a pretty inexpensive way to do a railing. If you know, any of your builders have done railings, they know.
And it's not going anywhere.
That's right. That's tested to the necessary loads.
And for those of you that did or haven't seen it, if you go on the Build Show, where I'm a contributor, you can check out the Multi-Gen project where we actually did one of those Juliet balconies on the second floor to one of the lift and slide doors there. So very interesting stuff.
This is a cool sample here, shows a number of different features. The first one is exterior shading, right? This is a big real headache for us. We're building these really efficient buildings, a lot of solar, passive design. And then the problem is it's really hard in August to keep the heat from entering the building, right? And shading on the interior does not help you, right? You really want to stop those BTUs before they enter the building. And so exterior shading is definitely the way to go. You can essentially bring your solar heat gain coefficient down to 0 when you close this thing up. You can have it automatic, so it's protecting your building from overheating, you know, from the east side light or west side, right? Yeah. And this can save you a huge amount of air conditioning cooling load.
And this is the typical that you would find in Europe. These aluminum fins, they run on there, they run on the rails. But one of the downfalls from an architectural perspective is you get that, you got to take the mud with the rain.
That's right.
Right? So you end up with this big box. Now, the beauty of that is if it's say a roof soffit or something, I might be able to hide this in there and just have that come down through the soffit. But there's other ones that you guys are exploring that are going to deal with fabrics or screens.
We're going to see it here as well. So the fabric shades are really great. They're a little more expensive than these systems, but your housing is dramatically smaller. So you can have housing that's less than 4 inches in both directions. And the wind resistance is amazing. You can do 85 miles an hour.
And those goes up to 7 meters in width, right? Which, if you want to do the conversion, that's upwards of 21, 22 feet in length. Lift and slide door, drainable, 0 clearance threshold, and like the hinge door, these have pleated screens. So yes, you get an insect screen for, you know, if you're out there and you have bugs and you want to put these in. And obviously the lift and slide door, which you can see here, just moves very graciously. And if I take the handle and I rotate it, it basically drops the door down on the threshold there, and the gaskets engage. And 2 things. 1, you can't move that door now, but 2, you get that passive house level air sealing there. So, but again, rotating this up basically just puts the door up on a set of wheels, and then now you can move this door very, very easily across there. So
And these integrated grades are super important. Anytime you're trying to bring floor levels and deck levels to the same level,
Right.
you really have to think about water and snow and ice accumulation outside of the door. And it's really nice when your door manufacturer is taking care of some of this stuff for you,
Right.
and making sure that you are letting the water down and taking it away from the door without.
And all of this can get fabricated here and
Exactly.
come out as one unit. So
Yes.
as a contractor, you're not putting on the screens or the insect screen or the drain pan and the drainable screen there. It all comes out as one unit.
One
You
system.
basically install that one system.
Exactly.
This year, this is just your standard tilt-turn window. This one actually has SDLs, simulated divided lights. So the division is actually in between the panes of glass also. The typical operation, right? If I turn 90 degrees, I get the turn. Now the turn is only so I can clean the windows on the outside. In Europe, typical ventilation is accessed by the tilt version. Falls in about 7 inches up there. Now this is a big hurdle for Americans,
That's right.
right?
That's more than enough ventilation for these buildings.
For high performance buildings, passive house level. But everybody in America says, Steve, you don't understand. I want to open my windows. They think more wind comes in. But I can tell you, and talking with clients afterwards, the environment inside the building is so good. People don't even want to open up their windows anymore.
And the tilt function is also great because you can leave it open during the rainstorm. The window still drains to the outside. You can leave the house and the window is still secure. You can't open
You
every
can't
window.
climb in it.
Exactly.
Kids can't fall out of it.
Pets do not get through the window. Yeah.
So there's a lot of good things here. So.
Awesome.
All right, let's go see something that makes architects really excited, huh?
Yeah, this is a new design. Makrowin came up with this just in the last few years, and it was this notion of building these panorama style fixed panels on lift slide doors and mulled windows as well, where architects are essentially trying to hide all the frame of the window and make it look like you just have glass really in the wall assembly. And so this is a prototype of that kind of a window. We've actually done a really exciting project using this system in Wellesley, Massachusetts this year. And you can see a fixed portion of the window here is completely integrated.
Yeah.
And this is a single window, right? So this window, right, this is not a mold on the side. This is one monolithic unit of the operable side and the fixed side. And you can bring your aluminum sill, or you can do decking, right? You can bring this all the way to the floor to, let's say, your outside patio deck, and essentially bring that all the way to the window. And you can see that all the drainage, everything is taken
everything
care
is
of
here. It's
underneath.
basically a
Right in
sill
there.
underneath there
Exactly.
that just basically drains out. You just hide it with that little wooden box there.
All right. Over here we have an example of the fabric screen. This is a really small example of it, but imagine 17 feet wide opening with a single screen like this.
And you can see here, we're
Much
down in that
smaller
4
box.
inches, not in that 8 or 9 inches.
Yeah, and
that
this
we
kind
were.
of a box you can hide probably within a trim assembly outside.
Yeah, very much
outside
so.
of the building.
This is another picture window, but instead of having a window on the side, this just basically has a ventilation shaft.
Yep.
Right?
This is quite popular in some of the modernist designs in Europe. We haven't seen this in North America yet. We'll see if this thing catches on. But the nice thing about it is you dedicate all your glass to the fixed portion of the window, and then you have a box like this that's only used for like nighttime ventilation.
Right. But you get that full ventilation, but I still get that beautiful panoramic view of the fixed glass. I saw these in Norway. They were quite popular there in their multifamily.
That's
They
right.
had a lot of them there.
And we'll see, with your ERVs and HRVs, which are now built into most of your projects, how much this form of passive ventilation is necessary, or whether you really want to be using a system like that. And down here below, we see curtain wall systems, and here's a really cool illustration.
Grab this
of how that
sample here.
works. This is really high performing type of fenestration because, these days glass is more efficient than our frame, right?
Right.
And in the curtain wall system, almost the entire wall is glass, right? Except for these 2 inches right there. And we'll walk downstairs into the factory. We'll see one of these projects being made.
And for those of you not familiar, you can see here, that's where it's thermally broken.
That's right.
So this interior frame and this exterior frame do not connect.
That's right.
So that's a piece of foam there that basically beds the glass. Now,
And you can reach passive house performance with this.
before we go, I want to talk a little bit about this sample because I was intrigued when I saw it years ago. Triple glazed window with a 4th pane of glass. Now, it's not necessarily quad glazing for energy efficiency. It's basically the 4th piece of glass creates a cavity here. And that cavity was meant for a pull down shade. Now, the problem with that design is, I'll let Patrick speak to it, but it's this guy right here.
That's right. You know, there was always problem with airtightness with these manually operated shades because it was almost impossible to seal this penetration through the window. And you know, you build this incredibly airtight window, now you put shading on it, there's always some kind of a compromise.
Right.
And this was also like a big challenge in North America when a number of manufacturers were trying to build shades like into the insulated glass assemblies, and they would put the shade in between the 2 panes. Look, most of what we saw in North America was double pane. And what they ended up with was a shade, it was hard to maintain, and a cavity that really didn't hold argon in there. And you ended up getting condensation in there and clouding of the window and whatnot.
And when the shade failed, it's locked inside a window, so I don't get access to repair it.
Yeah, so Makrowin did a great thing where they said, we're going to take care of the insulation portion of the window first with this assembly, and then we're going to put the shade on the outside of that into a fully maintenance-enabled cavity. So this panel right here can open up. We'll see that downstairs.
Yeah.
And you can work on it. And of course, the new development is going to
We're going to see it downstairs. I'm going to cut you off because you're going to talk about it, and we got to go downstairs because we are literally the first ones to see it. They just built this window. I mean, it just very, very recently, and we're going to go downstairs and check it out. So you're going to have to come back. That's it for this video. If you're a subscriber, thank you. Drop your comments in there. If you're not, smash that subscribe button. Tell all your friends, if you want to learn how to build a house the right way, this is the YouTube channel to find out what you should be doing. So I'm Steve Basic Architect, my good friend Patrick, and of course, a huge thank you to Makrowin. Stay tuned. We got video number 2 coming very soon.